So hi everyone to our session. So today's session is on the relationship of relationships on prosperity. So we'll talk about that and we'll also do healing related to that. So before that, let's do a short invocation. Uh, so before we invoke, I just wanted us to just reflect on what uh, it is that we want from a relationship. It's very often that we say, I wish this person would love me, but we are not really clear on what means love to us, because perhaps they are loving us in their way, but we are not really getting it right. So just want us to reflect on that. It's like, what exactly does love or respect mean to us? Can we actually clearly define it, like in 2 or 3 sentences? So I'd like us to reflect on that. That is for the healing. And before that, let's do the invocation. Okay, so let's close our eyes, connect the tongue to the palate, inhale and exhale. Let us invoke to the Supreme God, Divine Father, Divine Mother. We thank you for your priceless blessings, for divine light, divine love, divine guidance, divine love, mercy, inner healing, physical healing. Thank you for the inner strength to practice regularly. Thank you for your divine help and protection, for illumination, abundance, and prosperity. We thank you. Let's do the soul affirmation together. So the soul affirmation is, one is dissociating from our body, the second is connecting to our higher soul, and the third is connecting to what we call the divine sparks. There are actually three parts to the soul affirmation. So let's do that now. Let's be aware of our body. Let's be aware of our emotions and our state right now. Let's be aware of our thoughts. What are we thinking? I am that I am. I am not the body. I have a body. I am not the emotions. I create emotions. I am not the thoughts. I create thoughts. I am the soul. I am a spiritual being of divine intelligence, divine love, and divine power. I am one with my higher soul. I am that I am. I am one with the divine spark within me. I am a child of God. I am connected with God. I am one with God, and I am one with all. So the fact that we affirm that we are one with all is obviously very relevant when we talk about relationships in particular, right? So when we talk about relationships, we need to be aware that there is um, there is a oneness that we need to attend to, and so we'll talk about some techniques on how to do that. Okay, so relationships. So, what is the relationship of relationships and prosperity? So, one thing that I also thought is that in case anybody has any specific queries, you can put it on the chat box. That way, we can maintain your privacy. And so, we'll try and answer it during the short talk that we'll have today. So, one of the things with relationships, of course, in pranic healing, we are able to solve a lot of relationship problems. We have multiple tools, one of which we use every day, which is the Twin Hearts meditation. So the way the Twin Hearts meditation works is that, once we are done with the meditation, we have started blessing a relationship target. So we hear sometimes of people who have lived their entire life, and that you find out that they're not talking to a father, or they're not talking to a mother, or they haven't talked to them in many years, or they're not talking to their in-laws, or maybe a friend or something like that. So the question is, why does that happen, and what can we do about it? So it happens because of obviously some exchange of words, right? And as we know, that words are energy, right? And thoughts are also energy. So once something goes wrong and then we continue to feel hurt and we begin to grow that hurt in our system, then what happens is it becomes this big tree. So you can just visualize, we are here like this, and let's say we have a lot of trees growing out of us, and unfortunately some of those trees are actually looking more like cactus. So I'm not saying that's just us, okay? I'm just saying that's just everybody, like all of us, including me. So what we do is, in the Twin Hearts meditation, we bless with relationships. Now, how does relationships affect prosperity? So what happens is that I feel that if we have a lot of negative relationships that we are dealing with, then a lot of our mind space gets taken up with that. And one of the things that we read in Master Choa's books is that the selection of a life partner is to be done with a lot of care, because once we've selected that life partner is, and that relationship between that life partner is really going to affect our prosperity. Because if we don't have a great communication, if we are not friendly, if we're not able to communicate properly, then there's going to be certain issues. So for those of us who already have life partners, we can use the forgiveness technique. So what we'll do today is after some time, we'll do the forgiveness technique. We can select anyone who we want to do it with. Okay. And so with I've seen a lot of people, so prosperity basically is a multi-dimensional thing. But prosperity is not just money. For example, if we had a lot of money but we had no friends to enjoy it with, or we don't have a family to spend that money on. And sometimes we've also heard people saying that, because they don't have money, therefore their relationships are not good. So that's something that I would like to address, is that if we are feeling that, because there isn't enough money, that's why the relationship is not great. That's something that we can address again through pranic healing. We do healing for people, and that really helps to solve some of the problems. The way it solves problems is two ways. What happens is that when we have negative thoughts towards somebody and we do the twin hearts meditation and we also do the forgiveness technique, uh, there is basically a cord of types. So let's say, for example, if I have a relationship with my friend, then there is a cord that is connected from me to that person. Okay. Now, as long as there is love in that relationship, then the cords are positive. The cords are sending, good energy and receiving good energy. But if the chords become negative, then what happens is that person, or thinking of that person, begins to drain our energy. And because of the draining, so let's say we have multiple problems of that sort, then the energy begins to get more and more and more drained. And when the energy begins to get more and more drained, obviously it becomes, more difficult for us to earn a living, because, we are constantly just thinking about that. So if we wake up in the morning and the first thing we think about is like, okay, I don't know if my teenage son has woken up, or, I don't know if my husband is going to go to work today. That's really not doing much for our energy, right? So one of the ways to solve relationship issues is to wake up in the morning and to try and think of what we do want. As I said a little bit earlier, it's sometimes difficult, but honestly, it's much easier than thinking negative thoughts. So, it takes a little bit of mental effort. You're going to create a thought anyway, right? You're going to create a thought about the family, about the business, whatever it is. So why not create a good thought, right? And sometimes I think the issue why people, I feel, don't create a positive thought is they feel like, is this going to work? It's like, if and also I think sometimes people feel like a fool. It's like, suppose I thought a negative thought and I thought a positive thought about something and it didn't happen, then I feel like a little silly, right? So one thing to keep in mind is that sometimes that thought needs to be repeated. Why does that thought need to be repeated? Because for so much time, we have been putting negative thoughts into that relationship or that person or that visualization. Now we have to change all of that. So in order to change all of that, we have to again use energy, right? So suppose we put in so much of energy, which was not so positive. Now, in order to change that so much of energy, which into positive energy, we have to again put in that much positive energy. And unfortunately, what tends to happen with most of us, including me, is that, we tend to think, 10 negative thoughts and maybe one positive thought, right? So you can see how this is like, it's kind of like trying to go up an escalator that's going down, right? So unless we are actually able to pull back and just say to ourselves, okay, I'm going to create a negative thought. So one of the ways to do this is like, you wake up in the morning and you think of, let's say somebody's asked about children, especially at the growing age. So try and visualize clearly in your mind what you do want. Because I can tell you that even while, some of the kids that I've known have been growing up, we spend more time thinking about, oh, he doesn't get up on time. Or let's say about the husband, he doesn't go to work on time or something like that. What we often don't think of is, when do we want him to go on time? What time do we want them to wake up? What time do we want the husband to be able to go to work on time? Or what time do we want the spouse to come back home? Okay, husband, wife, as the case may be. What time do we want them back? Are we clear in our head about what we want? So in every relationship where we may be struggling, this is something that I've tried myself, is that I've kind of written down for myself, it's like, what is the next, firstly, what are the few good things about this particular person? And then about a third of that, so let's say if I write 10 good things about a person, then about 3 things that I would like to see changed in that person. And I try to be as specific as I can, and I also try to write these things down, because when I write them down and they happen, it's just much easier to track, and it's much easier for me to also understand that yes, it's my energy work that's working. Okay, my thought power. So one of the things, like I said, write down 10 positive things about that person. I know it's not something you want to do sometimes, but believe you me, it really works. And then write down 3 things that you want changed. So, and be specific. I would like my son. So, it's like we also need to think like, do we really want just our child that, suppose our child gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, very good. He got up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now what? Is that what you wanted? Is that all that you wanted? No, right? You wanted him to not only get up, probably take a bath, vacate his room so it can be cleaned, or, go to school or go to work or whatever it is. So there is something else that you want after that. So again, the more clear we are about what exactly we want this person to do. I'm not saying we're not trying to dominate the person. What we're doing is every time we think, we need to be clear about what is our thought. Because today, if I think, okay, I want this person to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, but then what? Get up and do what? Like, is getting up enough, or do I desire that this person takes care of his health? Again, we have to also keep in mind that we don't want to become dominating in this process. We want to inspire and to motivate. So the other couple of things that I would suggest is to look at what we call assertive communication. And for this, I have a resource that I would suggest. His name is Dan O'Connor. He has a lot of great videos on assertive communication. So Dan O'Connor, he's Australian. And you can also look up on YouTube. There are a lot of other people also who talk about assertive communication. So one of the things that we probably also needs to change is the way we communicate. Instead of saying, "Have you done this?" Right? Suppose you were to ask, instead of asking, "Have you done this?" What if you were to ask, "When do you think you'll be able to do this?" Right? It's a little bit different. You are giving a certain amount of control to the other person to decide when they are going to do it. And at the same time, you have obviously given a reminder. So the reminder is a little bit more gentle, like, have you done this? Or when do you think you'll be able to do this? Right? So a couple of things like, a couple of techniques like this is something that, you can learn. Of course, you can also consult a counselor if you're having a very serious problem in the relationship. We highly encourage. In fact, in this book, Pranic Psychotherapy, by Master Choa Kok Sui, he mentions very clearly that if there is a certain mental issue, then it is important to consult a psychotherapist, a pranic psychotherapist, as well as, a practicing counselor, because talking is also important, right? Okay. So that's what we have for relationships. If you have any other particular things you want to talk about, you can put them in the chat box and we will try to address them in a bit. Today, after so when we do the Twin Hearts meditation, we are filling our aura with a lot of energy. So sometimes if we are not sure about what we want to say or what we want to do, or even what we want out of a relationship, if we just regularly continue to do the meditation, what happens is that our own energy body begins to change. It begins to become positive and softer. So, one of the best ways of changing the world is to change ourselves. Uh, so I use this example a lot. It's like, if I have mangoes, I can give you mangoes. If I have apples, I can give you apples. If I have pain, I can give you pain. And if I have love, or if I have good energy, I can give you good energy. So the idea is to fill our entire aura with some good energy with the meditation. And then wherever we go, we share some of that with the people who we love. Yeah. And even sometimes with people who we don't really know. So even strangers, when we go in the presence of great gurus, the reason why we feel better is because their auras are so big and because their auras are full of positive energy. So when we are in their aura, we kind of already are kind of intermingling with their energy, and their energy begins to heal us. Yes. So there's one more thought, is that, what happens if we share good energy and love, but we don't get it back? So of course, here comes in the law of karma. The law of karma basically states what we give, we get back, right? But sometimes there can be a backlog, which basically means that there is a lot more that we have to give before it can start coming back. And often I have also, with certain people, we've also noticed that, let's say, for example, if it's a child or it's an in-law or somebody like that, um, when we do the soul realization meditation, which is the achieving oneness with the higher soul, that time what we realize is there could be perhaps a karmic situation from the past that we are working out at this point. So what happens in that kind of a situation is that we're giving love, but we're not getting it back. We're giving love, but we're not giving it back, getting it back. Perhaps it is just a reversal of a past situation. So the answer is we continue to give love, and one day, it comes back. And I've seen it in my own life, so I can tell you that it works. What I'd also like to just add here is that, to me, it's a little bit like climbing a mountain, okay? Or let's say even climbing a flight of stairs. You climb one step, second step, third step, and you say, you know what, I haven't reached the first floor yet. Fourth step, fifth step, sixth step, I still haven't reached the first floor. Eighth, ninth, 10th. There comes a point in that flight of stairs, you just keep going and you keep going and you keep going. And one particular step, suddenly you're on the first floor, right? Or whatever floor you're climbing to. So what I'm trying to basically say is that we just keep doing it and we keep doing it and we keep doing it. And we don't know where the tipping point is, but there is a tipping point. And at that tipping point, it just will very smoothly change. Okay. So let's try that. Yeah, Priya brought up an important point, which is that the law of forgiveness and mercy overrides the law, supersedes is the word that Master Choa uses in his book, The Existence of God is Self-Evident. It supersedes the law of karma. So what happens is, the law of karma is there, but if we constantly forgive other people and we are merciful to them, even though they're being nasty to us, then what happens is that the law of forgiveness supersedes the law of karma, which means either that person will change faster or that person will go away from our life. Or if you don't want that person to go away from your life, that's fine. The person will change, so something will happen. And again, like I said, with experience, with a lot of people's experience, I can say this works. So what we'll do is we'll use the law of forgiveness after we use the law of karma. Let's be aware of our crown. Let's be aware of our heart. Let's be aware of our hands. Let's raise our hands in blessing position. Let's feel the energy flowing through us. So we're going to use a prayer which is there in the Advanced Pranic Healing book by Master Choa Kok Sui. And I'd like you to just follow along for now. It says here, I forgive all those who have caused me injury and pain. I release all hurts. Divine Father, I humbly ask your forgiveness for all my mistakes. I am at peace and filled with love. My body is becoming healthier and healthier. I forgive all those who have caused me injury and pain. I release all hurts. Divine Father, I humbly ask your forgiveness for all my mistakes. I am at peace and filled with love. My body is becoming healthier and healthier. One more time. I forgive all those who have caused me injury and pain. I release all hurts. Divine Father, I humbly ask your forgiveness for all my mistakes. I am at peace and filled with love. My body is becoming healthier and healthier. So this was a general prayer that we can use for people, for like a whole group of people. And then for those people with whom we are having certain special issues, this was discussed by the trainer Padminiji Ramesh, who is from Chennai. she had suggested a particular technique to us, which I'm going to share with you now. What we do is that we basically raise our hands in blessing position. We visualize that person in front of us and we say a simple prayer. So just get ready, just visualize the person in front. Be aware of the crown, the heart, and the hands. So, what we are going to do is we are going to project a lot of golden, beautiful pink energy towards them. This is going to help to transmute the relationship between them and us into a more positive relationship. Okay, so the message is like this. It says, "Look into the eyes of the soul." So, look into the eyes of the person who you wish to forgive. This also works if you need to ask for forgiveness, because sometimes, we end up doing something and we may not be in a position to go and physically talk to that person for whatever reason. So to help us to solve that particular relationship also, we can use this technique. Okay. So what we say is Atma Namaste. So we visualize, when we do the soul affirmation and we say, I am one with all. So we are acknowledging that the other person also is a soul. So we acknowledge the soul and we say Atma Namaste. I, the soul, salute the divinity within you. I, the soul, love and respect you. So, this particular technique works when there isn't anything specific. Everything is sort of okay, but the relationship needs to be improved, and there may be like a lot of things. So, this is one thing that I've used which really works to change the nature of relationships. Okay. So, let's say Atma Namaste. I, the soul, salute the divinity within you. I, the soul, love and respect you. Once again, Atma Namaste. I, the soul, salute the divinity within you. I, the soul, love and respect you. One more time. I, the soul, salute the divinity within you. I, the soul, love and respect you. I, the soul, salute the divinity within you. I, the soul, love and respect you. Keep your eyes closed. Hopefully, most of us are feeling calmer in the context of that particular relationship. So, this is a technique that we can use for 15 minutes, 1 hour, 3 hours, again, depending on what kind of situation we are dealing with. Okay. I have also known people who have done this with clients when you have maybe something happens with the client and it's an important client. You want that client to come back for your business, for your practice, whatever it is. So it's a good idea to do this particular exercise with them also. So basically what we are doing is that we are putting fresh energy into their system, and we are also kind of smoothing and softening the entire energy. Okay, so the beauty with the blessing technique is that it's like we're not mentally dominating anybody, we're just sending them good vibes. And ultimately, with the law of karma, the law of forgiveness, what happens is that that energy changes and eventually comes back to us as positive things. Okay, now of course there's also the other forgiveness prayer, which if you like we can do that. So visualize one other person with whom you, or the same person. And in this case, we are going to kind of acknowledge the fact that we have made mistakes and perhaps they have made mistakes, and that we now want to resolve this. Okay. So visualize that person in front. You can put your hands on your heart or you can use the blessing position, whichever is more comfortable. And let us say Atma Namaste. I, the soul, salute the divinity within you. I, the soul, forgive you for the hurt, the pain, the losses that you have caused. I, the soul, forgive you. Atma Namaste. I, the soul, salute the divinity within you. I, the soul, forgive you for your mistakes. I, the soul, forgive you for your mistakes. One more time. So, as we say the prayer, try to visualize that person in front of you, look into their eyes. Atma Namaste. I, the soul, salute the divinity within you. I, the soul, forgive you. I forgive you for the hurt, the pain that you have caused me. I forgive you. And as this process takes place, perhaps we're also aware of the fact that we may have done something to either trigger the situation or that we may have done something to hurt them, which we are not aware of. Okay, so let's also ask for forgiveness. So, again, this is also an application of the law of karma, which is that once we have forgiven, then we are entitled to be forgiven, right? So, first we forgive, then we ask for forgiveness. Let's raise our hands in blessing position. Let's bless them again. Let's visualize the energy flowing from our crown, our hands, and our heart. Atma Namaste, I, the soul, salute the divinity within you. I, the soul, request your forgiveness. Please forgive me for any hurt or pain I may have caused. Please forgive me. Atma Namaste. I, the soul, salute the divinity within you. I, the soul, ask for your forgiveness, and I, the soul, forgive you. I, the soul, ask for your forgiveness. Please forgive me. Atma Namaste. I, the soul, salute the divinity within you. I, the soul, forgive you. I, the soul, ask for your forgiveness. Please forgive me. May the Lord God bless us all. May the Lord God forgive us all for our mistakes. We are all children of God and we are all evolving. We all make mistakes. Mistakes are a part of life. I forgive you for your mistakes. Please forgive me for mine. I forgive you. Inhale and exhale. And once you're ready, gently open your eyes. So this is a short forgiveness technique. This video will be on YouTube. So if you like, you can just play this portion of the video again and again, and you can do the forgiveness prayer. There are also many other forgiveness videos on the YouTube channel by our acharyas. So you can refer to those as well. It's just a matter of which one works for you. So the idea is that the more we forgive, the more we disconnect what are called negative cords between us. So those of us who have done pranic healing, we are aware of the existence of negative cords, and you can also cut those cords if you've done pranic healing. And if you haven't, that's fine. You can learn, and you can learn how to do that. That's also a process. Of course, if you move on to Arhatic yoga, then there are many, many more techniques that we teach, that the school teaches in the Arhatic yoga school, which helps us to overcome relationship issues. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. And the reason again why we feel that relationships have a role in prosperity is that any negative stuck energy, especially related to relationships, also sits in our aura. Okay, so the faster we can get it out, the faster better energy can flow, and help us become prosperous. Because just think of the amount of negative energy, how much negative energy actually drains us. So the idea is that the less negative energy we have, the more positive we are, the more space there is in our aura to be more prosperous. Yeah. Okay. So just to quickly recap, we discussed how we are going to write down 10 positive things about people who we have a relationship issue with. And then we're going to write down 3 things specifically that we want to see changed. The reason we're going to do that is, again, if you refer to the book Astral Body by Arthur Powell, he talks about how when we create a positive thought about somebody, then that thought form actually reaches them. So similarly, when we create a negative thought form about somebody, that also reaches them. So the idea is that if we create enough positive thought forms through our visualizations of how we want this person to behave, then what we are actually doing is we are sending them helping energy. So then that energy kind of sits in their body and helps them to become better and to improve their behavior. Okay, so you can read the Astral Body by Arthur Powell for more information on that. Of course, there is the Twin Hearts meditation where we bless the entire planet Earth, and of course, the people who we are having a little bit of problem with are also on planet Earth. So that helps change the energy, and because sometimes it's difficult for us, perhaps, to bless people who have been mean to us. So a much easier way to do that is to just do the Twin Hearts meditation and bless everybody on Earth, right? So the job is taken care of. And then, of course, for some special people, what we can do is we can do cutting cords if we have done pranic healing. If we've not done pranic healing, you can learn soon. And the fourth thing is that we can do the forgiveness prayer that we just did, because the law of forgiveness supersedes the law of karma. So that means you don't need to work it out in the long karmic way. You can just work it out as a shortcut, so to say, by doing the forgiveness prayer and by actually forgiving that person over time. And of course, the blessing technique, which is, you raise your hands and you just bless that person. Uh, you say, you say nice things to that person, and you basically say, I salute the divinity within you and that I forgive you. Okay. So I hope this helps. Please try these techniques. They're very, very useful, very powerful. And again, the idea is that as our energy changes and positive energy, there's space for positive energy, prosperity comes in. Of course, good relationships lead to prosperity. So if you have a good relationship with your clients, guess what? There's going to be more prosperity, right? And if you have good relations with your family, then what's going to happen is that the unnecessary expenses, the wastages, the fighting over resources will also come down. So that will also help to improve our prosperity level. Okay, we'll end today's session. So thank you so much for joining. And if you're watching this later, then please subscribe to our channel on YouTube so that you can be notified whenever there's a video up. Okay, thank you.